Hello, I'm Bill Monroe, and welcome to episode 94 of 2-Minute Talk Tips. This week's tip, watch yourself on fast forward. This tip comes to me from another speaking coach that I met on the JoCo Cruise named Emily Messner. Gestures are a tricky thing. We know that they're important in speaking, but a quick way to really mess yourself up is to think too much about how you move your arms or how you move your legs. Plus, we also don't really see ourselves as we speak to an audience, and we shouldn't. We need to be focused on our audience and on our message. So how do we do gestures right? Well, the first thing we have to do is figure out just what we're doing, and for that, video is our best friend. Modern camera phones that we have today and that most of us have at least one of mean there's really no excuse for not recording video of your performance, at least on occasion. Watching this video is the other important part of that, because no matter how much you record, if you don't watch it, it doesn't make any difference. But to really see which gestures pop and what you do repeatedly, watch it on fast forward without the audio. Things will jump out at you in a way they just don't when you watch at normal speed. Pacing around, rocking, pointing, and more becomes super obvious on fast forward, and kind of comical too. But once you've identified those gestures that you're doing and doing repeatedly, then you can make a decision about whether or not you need to change that gesture. Maybe you want to double down on it. Maybe you want to reinforce it. Maybe it is deliberate and making perfect sense in your speech, in which case, absolutely fantastic, go for it. But if not, once you have that information, then you're in a position to actually fix things and do things the way you want to be as effective as possible. Stick around, and after the break, we'll talk about 5 New Year's resolutions for speakers. Welcome back. This week, I take a break from interviews to talk about resolutions for speakers and also future plans for this show. First of all, let's talk about resolutions. This episode is launching on January 1st, 2019. Sort of a magical first day of the year. Lots of folks are out there setting big, ambitious, and vague dreams as they declare their New Year's resolutions. You'll hear friends and colleagues talking about dreams like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to save more money. I'm going to start a new relationship. I'm going to end a relationship. I'm going to follow my dreams every day. And those are great sentiments. But as we all know, most of those resolutions will be dust within a week. And there are lots of reasons for that. But if your resolution is to get better at public speaking, I can help. First, I'd suggest refining the goal more to figure out what get better at public speaking means for you. The more specific you are, the easier it is to develop the right plan to get you there. Second, you've already taken an important step by listening to 2-Minute Talk Tips, so keep it up. Third, I have 5 specific resolutions that you can make to make yourself a more effective speaker in 2019. They are 1. Rehearse a talk 5 times. 2. Do one talk without slides. 3. Solicit detailed feedback from one colleague. 4. Finish every talk on time. And 5. Tell 3 stories in talks this year. These are minimums. I'd encourage you to actually go beyond those numbers. They're also a start. The value you get from each one of these resolutions will vary with where you are in your journey as a speaker. and they're simple enough that you can start executing right away. So let's explore them in some greater detail. The first resolution is to rehearse a talk 5 times. Commit to rehearsing your next talk 5 times. And by rehearsing, I don't mean mumbling through it in your car. I mean stand up, use your slides, and go through your talk start to finish out loud. Book a conference room if you need the space. And if you're already doing this, fantastic. You know how valuable this is. Go ahead and tell others about your experience. I've said before that 90% of the success of a talk is determined before you ever get to the front of the room or get on the stage. Rehearsal is a part of that. It's a part of the prep work you do to drive success. Rehearsing out loud does a lot of things for you. It gives you a better sense of the timing of your speech, just how long it is. It helps you find phrases and transitions that look great on a computer screen, but just sound awkward or trip up your tongue when you say them out loud. You also get to know the material better and can focus more on your audience when it's showtime because you have done more of that rehearsal. Plus, with more rehearsal, you'll simply look and sound more confident on stage, which also makes you more convincing. So rehearse your next talk at least 5 times before you give it. The next resolution is to do one talk with no slides. It sounds scary, but it's an important skill to have. And you know what? The scarier it sounds, the more important it is that you do it. Remember, PowerPoint is there to support the speaker. The speaker is not there to support the slides. PowerPoint lets you give your audience an extra visual aid, but it's just that, extra. Too many speakers confuse the PowerPoint slide deck with the presentation. They spend all their time on the slides and neglect their message. Or they make their slides a transcript of their talks, which makes both the slides and the speaker even less useful for the audience. Used properly, slides are great. They're fantastic, but too many speakers use them badly. So try speaking without slides at least once. It can make you a more effective speaker. It forces you to rely on and develop other skills to land your call to action and get the audience to accept your message. Not only will it make you a better speaker, you'll also be a better slide user in the future. The third resolution is to solicit detailed feedback from a colleague. Watching video and listening to audio is great, and I'd always encourage you to listen to more audio. But as you grow as a speaker, another set of eyes is helpful too. Your colleague will see and hear things that you don't because the talk will get filtered through their perceptions and their life experiences. They may be confused by things that you think are clear, just like your audience might be. When you get this perspective, then you can make an intelligent decision about how to move forward. The key is to choose a colleague well. You don't want to rely on a friend or a family member who will want to spare your feelings or whose opinion will get tangled up with the emotional baggage we all carry through our lives. You also don't want a colleague or a family member who is always running you down. That kind of feedback doesn't help. It's not detached enough. You want input with as little emotional attachment to you personally as is feasible. So, should you implement all of their suggestions? No, absolutely not. You want to evaluate their feedback and definitely take it all seriously. But it's up to you to figure out what makes sense to change and what makes sense not to change. But give each of those suggestions some serious thought. The fourth resolution is to finish every talk on time. Going over time is rude and disrespectful to your audience. Finishing within time really should just be, part of standard practice. Commit to ending each talk within time this year. If you don't have enough time for all of your content, cut some content. You'll perform better and your audience will get more out of it since you'll end up with a cleaner talk by cutting instead of cramming and rushing. You'll almost never hear an audience say, "Wow, I wish that speaker spoke longer." You may be keeping your audience from a break, from a meal, or an opportunity to check Instagram. They may really like your speech and they may really like your message, but there are still other things they plan to do when you're done. Respect the gift of time and attention that they have given you and finish on time. The fifth resolution is to tell 3 stories in your talks. Focus on growing your storytelling skills this year and use 3 stories to land a point. You don't have to use all 3 in the same talk, but you can. Remember, stories are a more memorable and powerful way to connect with your audience. Storytelling helps you add more pathos to your talk and it helps you connect more personally and powerfully with your audience. That connection will help you inspire your audience and drive them towards your call to action. So work on crafting those 3 stories. Go through your list of stories and experiences from over the years to find some that are going to help you and craft them and build them and use them in your talks. So as you head into 2019, or continue in 2019 if you're listening to this in the summer, or head into whatever year it is you happen to be listening to this in, and you want to work to grow your public speaking skills, keep listening to 2-Minute Talk Tips and adopt these 5 resolutions. Rehearse a talk 5 times, do 1 talk without slides, solicit detailed feedback from 1 colleague, finish every talk on time, and tell 3 stories in talks in the next year. Before I end this episode, I do want to talk a little bit about the show going forward in 2019. I'm currently building out the editorial calendar, which will take us through the end of the year, and I already have some fantastic guests lined up. I'm learning so much in these interviews that I have. But I want to make sure that you continue to get tremendous value from the show. So what do you want to hear more about on the show? And what do you want to hear less of? Go ahead and leave a comment over at 2minutetalktips.com/resolutions. Or just email me directly. I am Bill at 2minutetalktips.com. You can also call 650-TALK-TIP and leave a voicemail with your message. Please send me your feedback because I'd love to hear from you. In addition to doing this show, I am also available for speaking engagements and seminars to help your organization become more effective in their public speaking. Just send an email to bill at 2minutetalktips.com and we can talk more about the details. I'm also developing some online training programs and packages for third quarter of 2019. So keep an eye or an ear open for more details. And if there are topics that would be particularly valuable to you, go ahead and let me know. Again, bill at 2minutetalktips.com. It is going to be a big year for the show 2-Minute Talk Tips. So let me know your thoughts and comments about the content I've been covering via the comments at 2minutetalktips.com/resolutions, email or voicemail at 650-TALK-TIP. Adopt the 5 resolutions for public speakers to grow your effectiveness this year. Watch yourself on video on Fast Forward. Teach a colleague how to subscribe to podcasts. And of course, as always, don't get best, get better. Thanks a lot. I'm Bill Monroe. Have a great new year, and I'll talk to you next week.
Two-Minute Talk Tips is a proud production of the Currently Speaking Podcast Network.